Hi,
Hello.
Greg.
Hi. And hello, everyone. Whether you are watching live or watching later, welcome to Theater 444's interview with Nick Bessette. I just had to ask him how to pronounce his last name because I panicked and I didn't remember. Did I get that correctly?
You did, even though we've known each other for years, Greg. Yeah, you
No,
nailed it. There's always those moments.
Yeah, when you're on display and then realizing, oh, I don't want to get this wrong. We're here to talk about Theater 444's upcoming production of The Tempest, Shakespeare. There it is. Look at that, The Tempest. Yeah, Nick, you just gotta kind of find your window. Shakespeare, The Tempest. So, Nick, you are directing.
I am. And I'm very excited to direct for Theater 444. While I haven't directed for this company before, I'm really excited to be the first guest director coming in. I've definitely worked with Theater 444 in the past with shows like Spring Awakening and Next to Normal, which you're also in, Greg.
Yeah.
And amazing. So I'm really excited to be coming in to direct. I am a high school teacher by day. I teach English and theater, and I direct the shows at the school. And I've worked with Shakespeare before, too. I train my kids each year for the Shakespeare contest where they go off and they compete against all these other schools in the region. And they almost always, place because they're just the best. They're really awesome kids. And I've directed for Shakespeare in the Park in Syracuse. And I directed Hamlet here in Auburn, where I live. So I am really excited to be getting back into the Bard again.
Well, it sounds like you are very qualified to be leading a group of unknown actors into the world of Shakespeare.
Well, I hope so. Hopefully they'll trust me the same way that you do. But it's going to be a great time, and I think we're going to have a really fantastic show. I'm very excited about this because we're doing it in such a unique and interesting way this time around.
Yeah. And do you want to just tell us a bit about that now? Because I know that is not the Tempest that people may be familiar with.
Sure. Yeah. And we can talk about what the Tempest even is in a minute, too. But this version of the show is going to be a really lighthearted, funny version of the show. I mean, it's a kind of funny show to begin with, but I'm really honing in on the comedy because it's going to be entirely virtual. And we all have Zoom fatigue, I think, at this point, right? We're tired of these little talking boxes and just looking at the heads. I don't think anyone wants to sit through something incredibly long and serious and hard. So this is going to be just a really silly, fun production where it has that feeling of just when you're a kid and you put on costumes in your house and you're like, let's put on a play. Only it's going to be like a really good version of that. So we're going to do that. And as people are watching the show, there's a component that's immersive with this, where the audience can participate. If they want, they can buy a basket to be shipped to their house in addition to the show ticket. And in this basket, there are going to be snacks and candies. There'll be ingredients to mix your own drinks, and little props and costume pieces. And so as the audience is watching along with these scenes, there'll be cues on the screen to interact, right? And to go ahead and have some of that cocktail and, right, go ahead, eat your cupcake or whatever now and put on your funny costume because it goes along with whatever's happening in the show. So it'll have this feeling of just, you're at a party, you're involved.
That sounds like such a clever way of engaging an audience virtually, because normally, if we were in a theater, you already have that sense of community of people just being in the same room observing something. But there's, of course, that disconnect we've learned in this time of COVID with virtual theater, where you're not in the same room with anybody or the audience. This kind of sounds like those special showings of the Rocky Horror Picture Show that you can go to, where I've never been, but you throw things at the screen and wear certain costumes and right?
Exactly. Yep. And you don't have to know anything about the show prior to participating with it. You don't have to worry about us suddenly turning your camera on and showing everybody who's watching you at home. Like, have fun, drinking your cocktail, cheering at the screen and laughing, do whatever, wear it in your pajamas. No one will see you. It'll be fine. But have the best time ever, because we will be.
That sounds really fun. And of course, so those show dates are going to be March 26th to 28th. And you can pre-order tickets and pre-order your fun box of interactive things for the performance. But of course, you need to cast the show and rehearse the show first. So I guess if you want to tell us a little bit about what The Tempest is about to you, and then I know we have a video of some adorable British children explaining The Tempest.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a treat coming up. So first of all, in terms of casting, I definitely want to mention that because this is a virtual show, you do not have to live in the Finger Lakes region of New York to be a part of this show. You can live anywhere as long as you have an internet connection and you can tune in. Go ahead and audition. I'm really excited because I'm already seeing names that I don't recognize and people from across the country. So this is going to be a really cool opportunity in a time where I think we feel so disconnected and so stranded to really be connecting to new people from across the country. So I'm very excited about that. And I'm looking to possibly cast some of these roles in non-traditional ways. So a lot's open. It'll be cool just to see where people fit, you know, where the show fits. But your question was actually about what the show is, so I should probably talk about that. So this is a Shakespeare play, and it is about this guy. He was this Italian duke by the name of Prospero, and then his brother kicks him out, and he's not duke anymore. So he gets stuck on this little island with his daughter, and he learns to be a powerful wizard. And by coincidence, his brother and all of his enemies who kicked him out are sailing by on a little ship, and he causes a big storm to strand them on his island. And he decides to use his magic and use some of the magical creatures like spirits and monsters that he rules over to try to get revenge. In the end, he kind of comes to this place of forgiveness, which I think ideas of coups, being shipwrecked and sort of isolated, and finding ways of sort of reconciling yourself with a really troubled situation that you've been in and the people you may not be happy with is really timely stuff. But don't take my word for it. How about some really smart British children?
We're Links Primary School and we're going to tell you the William Shakespeare play, The Tempest. On a dark, wild night, a ship is caught in a violent storm. Thunder roars, lightning strikes the waves, the passengers are thrown off into the sea.
On a distant island, the great magician Prospero watches the shipwreck with his daughter Miranda. He tells her all about how he used to be the Duke in Italy before his brother tried to take his place.
Prospero and Miranda were left stranded at sea, but they were saved by Prospero's magic. They lived on the island for 12 whole years. Prospero and Miranda share the island with spirits including Ariel, Prospero's spirit servant.
The other human on the island is Wild Caliban.
The ship that was caught in the storm is carrying Prospero's enemies, including his brother and the king.
Prospero thinks that his enemies have been brought to him so he can carry out his revenge.
Ferdinand, the king's son, also arrives on the island, separated from others from the shipwreck. He is discovered by Miranda and Prospero, and Miranda falls in love with him at first sight.
The other people from the shipwreck are sad because they think Ferdinand is dead, but they soon begin to plot against one another, as they all want to control the island.
But Prospero is too clever for them all, and he tricks them. Eventually, the magical spirit Ariel brings them all before the king, and Prospero forgives them.
Prospero reveals that Ferdinand is not dead, and gives his blessing for Miranda and Ferdinand to get married. At the end, Prospero grants to Ariel his greatest wish and sets him free.
There it is, The Tempest. We should have given a spoiler alert.
Right? Not at all like they were reading cue cards either. But yeah, So that's kind of the long version of it. But yeah, I'm really excited to see how we can put this play on under these really interesting situations. As they say in The Tempest, it's a brave new world.
The Tempest is one of my favorites. I did take a Shakespeare class in college, and we read a whole bunch of them, from the history plays, the tragedies, to the comedies. The Tempest, I loved because it had an island setting. It involved a sorcerer. There was magic and romance and humor. I also believe it was Shakespeare's last. Is that correct? Am I remembering?
Pretty close, right? I mean, to get nitpicky with it, it's not his last, but the story's too good to say it's not, right? Because it's about this wizard who directs everybody in the island and uses all this theatrical magic and illusion, and in the end sort of retires from that. So even though Shakespeare had like 1 or 2 plays after this is like him getting ready to say goodbye to theater, in the same way that Prospero eventually says goodbye to his magic when he leaves the island. So part of how we're going to be doing this in the kind of poor theater style, where we'll be putting bits of costume pieces and playing with certain props and stuff in this way that's maybe reminiscent of like Godspell, for example, lends itself really well to Tempest, because the magic is about illusion and about theater and about that sense of awe and play that you can have.
Now, if people who want to audition but have never been part of Shakespeare before, should they be intimidated by the language?
Not at all. Not at all. I know that sounds really, really scary, but everything you have, I will break down into bite-sized little bits and work with you in whatever you need, not necessarily even in front of everybody, but I'm really tuned into the rhythm and the sound and all these little clues in the language. Because while it sounds really hard to like listen to and like, oh my God, this is intimidating, if you have a guide who can unlock these keys, there are actually all these little tricks he puts in there that tells you how to say everything and how to even perform it so it comes out really naturally before you're even having to think about it. Like, he does the work for you the same way that someone might write the notes and the tempo of a music for you to follow, and then it's like, oh, this is easy to act it because it already has a certain tone and sound to it. Shakespeare does that too. And once somebody just kind of is like, tweak, there you go, now you can see it here, it just unlocks and the actors just blossom. It's really pretty cool to watch.
Yeah. You know, it is a lot like reading music. You just have to know the set of rules for reading Shakespeare, and then you're good to go.
Exactly. And Greg, I can't read music, but I have done so many musicals. So I think it's pretty much the same thing as whatever music director is like leading me by the nose to make me sound like I know what the heck I'm doing on stage. Same deal. It's the same thing.
Great. So if you're intimidated by Shakespeare, haven't read it since high school, or have never done it before, that is no excuse to not audition for The Tempest.
And this is a really accessible adaptation of this too. It's really streamlined and straightforward, and there's a lot of fun, silly surprises kind of added to it.
So how many actors are you looking for? And can you even just share a little bit about us with the characters a bit?
Sure. Yeah, I think we're looking for probably about 10 actors for this show altogether. I think we have a graphic that has some traditional pictures. All right. So these are kind of traditional pictures from a children's illustrated book. But we see there's Prospero. He's the wizard. We've got Ariel, who is this spirit of air and water, who's kind of a loyal servant to Prospero. We've got Miranda down there. She's wearing a pink dress in this version. And that is Prospero's daughter. She's kind of like Rapunzel, in that she has been isolated on this island. She's never seen another human before, just her dad and this creature called Caliban. And Caliban is a really interesting figure. He is this really bitter kind of wild figure. Sometimes he's portrayed as really a straight up actual monster, and sometimes a sort of person who's treated as if he's a monster. That's the only other person she's ever seen, until this handsome pretty boy prince Ferdinand washes up, a kind of wannabe Romeo, and the two of them end up falling in love. Then you've got King Alonso on the other side, who is the big rival power. Prospero is from Milan, pronounced Milan in the play, and Alonso's from Naples. And so when Prospero steps away from being a duke and his evil plotting brother Antonio takes over, Antonio makes an alliance with Alonso and says, hey, bring your army in here and kick my brother out. So Alonso and his brother Sebastian end up doing that. And there's just a really nice servant named Gonzalo who's with them. He's very utopian and philosophical, but maybe a little naive. He helps Prospero to survive when he's being kicked out. He gives him food and provision and his magic books, everything that keeps Prospero alive. Well, that crew right there, Ferdinand, Prince Ferdinand, King Alonso, the servant Gonzalo, Sebastian, and Antonio, are all on a ship along with the court jester, Trinculo, and their drunken butler, Stefano. And Stefano and Trinculo also end up washed up on this island with everybody else. And basically Prospero separates them all into little camps. So one of the things that's kind of cool about this is it's sort of 3 mini groups, like 3 mini plays. So again, if people are too worried about committing right now to a ton of rehearsals all the time, it'll be kind of broken up where I'll meet with each group and kind of go over each scene and sort of bounce around until we can start to put the groups together and see the whole shebang.
There's a great question from Sean here about doing it, The Tempest, in a non-traditional kind of way. And he's specifically asking about costumes, props, looking maybe updated in any sort of way, or what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, so the costumes will primarily be sort of modern, in character and modern, but almost like we are semi-staging it in our own homes where we have maybe some little costume pieces. For example, there is a ship captain who is this kind of yar, hoist the mast kind of ship captain guy. So, you know, fairly modern, but not distracting clothes. But go ahead and put a sea captain hat on him and a little eye patch or something, right? And have him hold the steering wheel as he's talking, right? That kind of thing. Cool. Will basically be what we're going for. Hopefully that explains it.
Well, yeah. And can you talk us through the audition process? How do people audition? What should they prepare or plan?
I'll actually have excerpts from the play for various characters that I will show them and let them get a little familiar with it. And again, don't be intimidated by the idea of a cold read, because I'll let you go ahead and give it a shot, but also ask me any questions. And then probably I'll go through again a little bit and kind of say, hey, I think in here there's room to maybe play with this emotion, or can you show me like a real turn on this part that he gets upset, or, that kind of thing. And talk to you about what the character's even saying and what the context is. So don't be intimidated by that idea, but also you don't have to go off and prepare a 10-minute Shakespeare monologue and memorize it on your own right now.
So you just have to sign up. It's as easy as that.
Easy as that.
And you can sign up using this link that Pam, the Theater 444, is sharing in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm really excited to meet some people and hopefully get to work together.
I'm really glad that earlier you did mention that you could be anywhere in the world, even the entire world, because all of the rehearsals will take place virtually. The performance will be virtual. So what a cool opportunity to do theater with people that you may never have ever been able to do theater with before.
Exactly. I'm really excited about that opportunity. And I think we all just need something to really distract us and connect us to people that's fun and creative too. While it's been so difficult to keep the arts going during this time, a lot of people have really missed having a creative outlet and just that kind of expression and that sometimes way of processing reality, but also escaping it at the same time. And I did another Zoom show earlier this year, and I know that I would come home from work and just be tired and think, oh no, I don't necessarily want to sign on to this thing. And then within a couple minutes of doing it, I was having such a great time, and I forgot the pandemic. I forgot everything else that was going on. And really, it was just very refreshing. And I'm really looking forward to this being a similar experience.
This sounds like a very safe way to engage in theater right now, a safe introduction to Shakespeare if you are brand new to Shakespeare, and a really fun, memorable adaptation to present virtually that would be fun to be part of or to watch.
That's right. And what a time capsule to say, like, oh yeah, that was during this weird period in our lives where we were all doing theater on the computer in our home and we never had to put on shoes and get in the car and go to rehearsal. You know, I think that would be kind of cool too.
And auditions are about 2 weeks away.
That's right.
The 28th and 29th. Again, all you have to do is sign up and that's it. And then just show up virtually on the 28th or 29th. And Nick will walk you through everything else. Nick, is there anything else you want to share about The Tempest that we haven't talked about yet? Or the production, or
I feel like you've done a great job, Greg. I think we've covered most of the bases, but if anyone has any further questions, feel free to contact Theater 444, or you can contact me directly. I'll be happy to field them.
Yeah, absolutely. Ask questions. We want you to audition, even if you're worried about whether you've got the time to commit or anything at all. Please ask, because we want you to be part of The Tempest. While we're talking about Theater 444, there's still an opportunity to catch Theater 444's last production that they attempted in this time that was beautiful. Daddy Longlegs was presented, there you are, was presented earlier in November, live streamed. It was beautiful. I loved it. I watched it twice. Fun now that you can still stream it. It is being streamed on a platform that you can access through theater444.com. All you have to do is go to theater444.com, click on the link. It'll take you to where you can buy tickets. It'll give you a code. You enter the code and you get to watch Daddy Longlegs as many times as you want, and I believe a 48-hour window. So just really beautiful. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely consider checking it out. And Marilla and Damon
so good.
Gave wonderful performances as well. So
yep, such a sweet, big-hearted show and such a solid cast. Really nice.
Yeah. So stream Daddy Longlegs. You have until February 28th to do that. It is romantic. You could save it for Valentine's Day if you want to. That'd be a great time to view it. And consider auditioning for The Tempest. Ask questions if you have them. Rewatch this video to get all the information that you need. But otherwise, like us on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well. Just search Theater 444. And of course, the website for streaming or to sign up for The Tempest, theater444.com. Thank you, Nick. And we'll see you at auditions, everybody.
All right. Thank you, Greg. See you at auditions.
Happy New Year from Theater 444. It's been a crazy year. A little bit sad and a little bit lonely for us at the theater, but also very challenging, innovative, and exciting. We're looking forward to 2021 because we know we'll be back on the stage soon. Here are some of our company members sharing their wishes with you.
Thank you, Theater 444, for continuing to create innovative and inspiring theater during a time where we need it the most.
Here is wishing Theater 444 and the theater community a bright and promising new year.
One of my greatest wishes for 2021 is to perform with my friends again, in person. And for all of you, Happy New Year.
My wish for theater in 2021 is that we're able to get back to live performances as soon as possible. We miss you all just as much as you miss us. Happy New Year. Just everyone stay happy and healthy.
Happy New Year! We hope to see everyone live on stage in 2021. Stay safe.